the sign to come on. Hey everyone, it's Kristi. Welcome to Kristi and Kevin's Happy Hour. We're glad to have you here. And we are talking about lots of things tonight, but we were talking about before we came on air, this video that Kevin did, and I was complimenting his music selection in the video. So you want to talk about your music selection in that video?
Yeah, I was a day without the internet, so I decided to mostly sing 80s classics to my cat, and annoy him doing that because he jumps on my face while I'm asleep. So yeah, that's what I did. And if you want to listen to me sing really, really badly, then go and do so.
It was not badly at all. Actually, there was one song that you did that when you started it, I jumped in. And I started singing along with you. It was one of the ones near the end. I can't remember, but it had like a harmony, and I just so you know, like I jumped in and I sang with you, Kevin.
Well, I'm glad that we're kindred spirits in that way. Although it would suggest that we both need help. But yeah, that was quite fun. Anyway, on matters of a more serious nature, we'd like to kick off our show with something a little bit more highbrow than the internet fluff that we discuss as the sort of the main body of our shite. And so I thought, with us both being feminazi evils, it would be more than appropriate to mention that today, this very day, marks the 100th anniversary of the passing of the Representation of the People's Act in 1918, which was the first act that gave women the vote here in Britain. It's worth bearing in mind, of course, that it was limited to landowning women over the age of 30, and which basically meant about 4% of the female population could vote. But even so, it was a pretty significant step forward, as it was the first legal time that women could vote, which was so a huge landmark in British and indeed Western history.
Yes, agreed. And as you say, it was very conditional. You know, women were still infantilized, and it was a while before universal adult suffrage would be the law of the land, but it was the first step.
Indeed, yeah. Well, that's the thing here in Britain. We don't tend to do revolutions. We just do little steps.
Right.
And basically, once you've seeded the ground of women should be allowed to vote, it was a matter of time before every woman got the right to vote. So yeah, it was a big legal step forward.
Yeah, even when you guys had a proper revolution and got to the Defender, when you had Cromwell, they ended up banning Christmases and theaters and gambling, and all the English were like, "Screw this, I want the king back. Thank you very much."
Yeah, exactly. Well, we killed the king and then created essentially an emperor who led to the king coming back. Yeah, people don't know that we were a reasonably representative republic for about 11 years.
Yeah, there were like really radical ideas going on at that time period. The levelers in English society had this radical notion of all men voting for the government that taxes them and spends their money. Indeed. And yeah.
Well, there was also, I forget the comedian, but it was a great line about one of the things levelers wanted to do was to introduce essentially a national system for paying through taxpayer money, paying for funerals, so that every person, regardless of their status in society, could have a funeral, which was a huge deal because most people couldn't afford even to dig the fucking hole to bury someone in. And the comedian came up with a great line. You could just see the right-wing press going crazy about people dying on purpose just to get their taxpayer-funded funeral.
Yes. I can already see the Daily Mail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Fox News going crazy about these people, purposefully dying just to screw their taxpayer. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, it wouldn't be that far-fetched, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, actually, and it's not why you mentioned that all men wanted to vote. The craziest thing I've ever heard, but it's true in a sense, is that the first political party here in Britain to call for the lowering of the age of majority to 18, so that all 18-plus-year-olds could vote from 21, was actually the Monster Raving Loony Party.
Don't dismiss them. If that's the case, then...
Yeah, which is amazing, because usually their things are stupid. Like, was it introducing a 99p coin to save on change? Just nonsense. But they actually have the occasional piece of ahead of the curve genius, which is nice.
Right. Well, like Lord Buckethead, who wanted to get rid of all the lords, except, of course, for Lord Buckethead.
Exactly, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And to reduce class sizes by making children sit closer together. I thought was quite a nice one.
Oh God, I love the English sense of humor.
Yeah, we're not a serious nation at heart. Well, unless you're a brown people country, in which case we'll steal all of your natural resources. So.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So, speaking of like terrible government, the one other thing that I wanted to get your take on before we talk about the YouTube drama, get some substance in before we move on to the fluff, as it were, was the Trump memo situation. So I don't know if we had a chance to talk about that too much, but the memo's come out now, and I can do a quick recap if you want to give like your opinion. I'll do the recap. The Republicans in the Intelligence Service Committee voted to release a memo that was criticized by the FBI and the Justice Department. Trump declassified or said that he declassified the information in the memo. It was released, and it was purported to be this smoking gun that would show that there was political bias in the FBI, and that was the reason. And this political bias is manifest by the fact that they cited the Steele dossier as part of their FISA application to get surveillance and wiretap on Carter Page. Now, if I get any of those details wrong, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can. But this is pretty much, I'm pretty sure if you check newspapers, this is what it'll say. The problem with the memo is that it doesn't actually exonerate Trump. So Trump has claimed this vindicates him, and it shows that it was all a bunch of nonsense. But facts and reality just disagree. The investigation itself did not come about as a result of a wiretap on Carter Page. The investigation was opened when George Papadopoulos got drunk in a London wine bar and told an Australian diplomat that the Russians had a bunch of emails from Hillary Clinton, and he was part of the Trump campaign. And this Australian diplomat told the American government. Now, this Christopher Steele was hired by a GPS or whatever the group is, the consulting group that was the sort of the broker. They were getting paid by an attorney or some people from the DNC, but he found out basically the same information over the summer and got in contact with the FBI in Europe and gave them this information. And it was actually the case that he didn't hear back from the FBI, and he thought they weren't taking it seriously, when in fact the FBI didn't tell him this, but he had just confirmed stuff that they had already been working on before he even knew it was an issue. So the investigation about like the use of the Steele dossier and it being politically motivated doesn't really make any sense, because Carter Page himself left the Trump campaign in September of 2016 because he had gone to Russia to give a basically a speech critical of America in Russia. And this raised eyebrows because of the Russian ties Trump already had, and he ended up being suspended from the campaign, never coming back. And the wiretap application started in October. So all of the details in the memo basically show that there wasn't any kind of political motivation. Further, in the month of October, James Comey, director of the FBI at the time, made public that they were reopening the Clinton email server issue, which turned out to be, to quote Reince Priebus, a big nothing burger, but kept from the public the fact that there was an ongoing investigation about ties between Russia giving information to Trump. And so, again, all of this is just nonsense, but those are the facts. Now, with that background, Kevin, what did you think of all that?
I couldn't believe, I genuinely, even by Trump's bullshitting standards, I expected there to be something there. I expected this to come out. I didn't think it was ever going to be the smoking gun that it was sort of built up to be. But they gave it the big sell, and it's nothing. I mean, it just shows basically nothing. I couldn't believe it. I read through it and I thought, this is what they're trying to sell to us as a smoking gun. To the point where even his own crowd now, like I saw him speaking yesterday, and he was going on about him being a secret sleuth or something. And for a start off, I know that was written for him, because there's no way he knew what the word sleuth was. And his crowd didn't react. He didn't get any applause. There was nothing. I think even his own people are like, they know that there's basically nothing in this. The most that can be said is that it shows there might be some need for tweaking the FISA court system. That's about it.
Right. Like basically the what we know in the Democratic memo will be coming out. Well, it's been voted out of committee. It goes to Trump now because he has to approve it.
I'd be very surprised if he did approve it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because he, as you said, reality and facts, not for the first time, disagree with Trump. So why would he allow the other side of the story to come out?
Yeah, well, that's case. That we'll have to wait and see. But so that being said, we'll hear a little bit from the Democrats. But from what you were saying about the problem with the FISA application, my understanding, and again, we don't know what's in the FISA application, but even the Republican memo said that the FISA application talked about it came from like a political source, or there was a political context, or basically it was meant to indicate that the Steele dossier was funded by political opponents of Trump, without naming the Clinton campaign specifically, because I learned from watching MSNBC, apparently there are rules inside the FBI that you don't name people more than you need to.
Yeah, because
in these
obviously
kinds of
they're potentially putting themselves in great danger to give you this information, so you don't reveal them. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, they indicated there was a political context. If it was happening during the general election, who was the only political opponent of Donald Trump? It's not like it took a lot to figure out. It was some Democrat or some Democratic organization. But that doesn't change the content of the dossier. And of course, they also tried to go after Steele personally, saying that because he was concerned Trump would be elected, which if I knew what he knew, that there was collaboration happening between Russian agents and the Trump campaign staff people, then I would have been concerned as well. So it's, to me, it is just
what
humiliating for Trump.
Yeah, absolutely, and for Devin Nunes, of course, because or Devin Nunes, whoever the fuck you pronounce
Nunes, it. Nunes. Yeah. There's no Y.
Yeah, well, Hispanic people, can you get together?
But he doesn't have the little squiggly thing. It doesn't have the squiggly thing. It's just
we don't have squiggly things in English, and English is predominant. So get together, Hispanic people, and decide squiggly thing or no squiggly thing. How are we pronouncing this shit? Get together.
Just regular U, just Nunes.
Because there's also what's his fucking name? Jose Mourinho, but it is pronounced Jose. Now that's ridiculous. You can't have Jose and Jose without any squiggly thing involved. You choose one. True. Stick with one pronunciation for fuck. Anyway, it's English is a language without any fucking rules, so I don't know where I get off. Having to go anyone else. I before E, except after C, and lots of other words that where C doesn't count. Oh, it's bollocks. Anyway. Devin Nunes is an absolute fucking hack, which he revealed in his own fucking words when he was asked about the Pfizer application. And gave all this spiel about the Pfizer application, and then was asked, "Well, have you seen the Pfizer application?" No, but I sent Trey Gowdy to look at it. So he's making all of these assumptions about a document he hasn't seen, who he's having the details of filtered to him by another person who we know is a fucking liar and is another politician. So he's basically making all these statements about a document he hasn't seen and therefore can't know exactly. It's ridiculous.
Quite. Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens now with the Democratic memo and going forward. But apparently, this was phase 2 for Nunes, and apparently there's going to be more memos. So we'll have to see. Yeah.
I can't wait. Well, if Trump wants to continue to humiliate himself, fine. But this is the thing. It's so obvious that there's some sort of collusion involved, and that Trump knows that Mueller has something on him. Because why would he be fighting and scrapping this way? If you were innocent, you'd just go, okay, well, let him do his thing. I'll stay completely out of it. Let him do his thing. There's nothing there. Why would he be trying to undermine it constantly?
So, we ready for some YouTube drama?
Yeah, let's do this thing.
All right. So I guess
before I lose my bearings.
Oh, very droll, Minister. Right. So, this is a follow-up to a short video I'd done, I don't know, a couple days ago now. And it's just recounting the state of affairs. The fact that, Bering over a year ago, was December 2016, I believe, feels like it's been longer, but I think it was 2016, that he basically accused Danny and myself of conspiring to, having a conspiracy to gather his information, of actually going out and gathering his information, and then giving it over to Cobalt Cat to put up in his Encyclopedia Dramatica article. Now, since that time, we've actually had a big the Discord, the Kraut server scandal that's happened, and we have had firsthand front row seats to what that kind of information would look like. You know, screenshots and conversations and, you know, posts, people like, you know, doing stuff.
Actual evidence of activity.
Yeah. Yeah. People talking about it, people like sharing links, people questioning where to put stuff. All that stuff happened with Jeff and Kraut.
Yeah, an actual paper trail showing that someone had done something would be a start. Yeah.
And for these 3 accusations, what did Bering have? He misquoted or misrepresented a conversation between Tim and Beringcab. And when Tim repeatedly said, "That's not what I said, you're misrepresenting it," Bering just ignored what Tim was saying and just kept going with this lie. And he's never retracted it. And it was that lie that was why I got doxxed. Someone sent me a quid pro quo, and this, you know, your docs are going up. And these were the same docs that Bering sent me by email 4 months later. And not like his Encyclopedia Dramatica entry, which was his YouTube channel, and his LinkedIn, quotes from his LinkedIn page that they referenced. It was like old passwords, old usernames, old addresses. Bering sent me my full docs.
Yeah, I believe, wasn't it your parents' old house number in America? You think, well, that's ridiculous. I mean,
it got swatted. Yeah, it got swatted. No, I've contacted the county sheriff, talked to an officer there, and they're aware of it. And basically any address I've lived in the States in the last 10 years, I had to contact.
Just before we move on, Danny Cork seems that he's actually relevant to the story. A little funny line in the chat about the previous thing we were discussing. He says, making claims about things they haven't read. Do these conservative politicians take notes from Sargon? Quite so, Danny. Quite so.
Right. Anyway, it's gone on. And then the other thing is that Bering shifts the story, right? So the narrative changes over time. Then he started accusing me of being at the ED page on the day that it was released because he didn't listen to what I said in the video when I was showing a metadata screenshot. And then he said I doxed him because when his fans called me liars on Kevin's video where Kevin was calling Bering out for threatening to dox Danny, right?
Yeah.
They called me a liar.
He contacted Danny, menacing him with his school information. Yeah.
Ridiculous. And basically said, how would you like me to introduce you this, with your name at this location?
Yeah.
It was menacing. He was bullying him. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, revealing your name to people who you know are doxers and have made threats against other people's lives. Yeah, that's hilarious. Bering, well done.
Right. So then after, when I cited the metadata source and people called me a liar, I had to give them the source or just say, yeah, I'm lying. And I wasn't lying. So what you want to say, and I've said this before, if you want to say that I spread a dox because I posted a link that I was asked for under one video, under Kevin Logan's video, which he only had about 5,000 subs at the time. So, kind of compare that to the stuff going on in the Kraut server. You can see that even spreading a dox can be done differently on different levels. And I knew at the time that I might get criticized for it, but people were calling me a liar and it was the truth. And they had I wanted to give them an opportunity to look at that themselves. So, and then he's moved on now to saying that I shared his docs all over the internet. So what I've done keeps changing and he keeps moving his lies. But I'm really focused on the first 3 because that's what started this all. Those were the most serious charges. And they're the ones that were the cause of all of my suffering and Danny's suffering as well. Yeah. And I've wanted to have a conversation. I tried last April or March. I know I was at a conference, a spring conference, so it was either March or April. And the white YouTuber was going to be like hosting it, and we went back and forth, and we couldn't come to an agreement because Pat posted under one of my videos that he hadn't made the accusations out of spite, and that he was perfectly willing to rescind his statements if he was shown to be wrong. He was just going on the evidence that was in front of him. But I've never seen what evidence is in front of him. And I still
have evidence.
Exactly.
He doesn't have evidence. He had a hunch and he was wrong.
Oh, yes. Because he's also put in other comments, I didn't say they doxed them or doxed me. I said it was my opinion and the evidence was insufficient to prove. But then he'll just accuse me of doxing him, and he hasn't formally retracted any of those accusations. So anyway, the thing was, I tried a negotiation in April. and it fell apart. Then there was the war scale. Well, then all the doxing stuff came out. And I was like, this is bullshit, because when I was accused of doxing, nobody had any of this shit. Nobody had anything like this on me. And yet everybody in Bering's audience just took it at face value. And it brought it, like, it kind of made it more relevant to me again. War Skis Live, when Tim was still going on the War Skis channel, sort of like post-Kraut, but pre-Spencer, that kind of time period. They were looking for, other drama to kind of, put on the channel after the Kraut thing had calmed down. So I suggested to Tim that he ask Andy to ask Bering to come on Warski Live, and I would bring my evidence. Tim would be there. Tim was involved. It would have been perfect. Tim could speak for himself. We could talk about the Bering cab, DMs and what was in there and what wasn't in there. And Bering just said no, that he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I contacted him saying, let's have a debate. We'll have a moderator. It'll be a neutral channel. He said, no, you have to do it on my channel. And so then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do a situation where he's just going to go in and abuse me. That's pointless. However, another thing that sort of changed was I watched Destiny handle no bullshit. Now, occasionally, he slipped and he lost his cool, which I understand, because no bullshit is an idiot. That guy is a moron. But he stuck to his guns. He stayed focused. He didn't take the bait when it came to insults, and he decimated him. He absolutely decimated him. And so what happened? So the story now updated from the last video was, and I'm going to wrap this up shortly and get Kevin's take, and then we'll look at some tweets if we have to. So on Sunday I went out to a women's party, a sort of Mädchen-Sitzung kind of thing that they do in Cologne. And I had a good time with my girlfriends and the ladies there. We danced, we sang, we partied. It was awesome. And
was this the pictures of you dressed as a clown?
Yes, because we all get dressed up. It's carnival, so clowns are like a Cologne theme. I don't know if they're everywhere, but they're in Cologne, yeah. So, 6 or 7 shandies into it. I'm like checking my phone at the end of the night, and Bering had tagged me into, I didn't know at the time because I was like just scrolling through it, but it was a Bering Cab video. He's like, baiting me again, because Bering Cab had made some dumb video about Tim and me and ranting feminist. And I started up the debate thing again, like, come on, let's, why don't we have this debate? And he pushed back saying, you're welcome to come on my channel anytime. And he's actually made this offer more than once, as I can show you. And I was a little bit tipsy. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Fine. I can watch some Destiny videos. I can get his techniques down and just have my evidence. And it would be my opportunity to put screenshot after screenshot after screenshot, play a video clip of him telling Dusty and Andy Worski that it was the Bindu woman from Candid who doxed him, show a thing where someone was saying, is it really a dox? If you take what the Bindu lady gave plus the band name that he's always promoting, you can find him pretty easily, and just have him answer those questions. And so I was like, yeah, fine, let's do it. And he said, wonderful, when is convenient? Right? So I can show the tweets. I can put them up, but I got open invitations, and I was invited to give a time that was convenient. I said, okay, so I don't know if you want to jump in, because I've been talking for a while, and give some feedback.
Yeah, there was, I don't know if you want to show the tweets, but some of them are absolutely amazing. He says in one of them that, and you can tell by the constant shifting of the goalposts that he just doesn't want to do it, because he knows he's wrong and he knows he'll get made to look a fucking idiot, which is, just because he is an idiot. He says at one point, no, it has to be in the next 48 hours. Why is he in such a rush? He earns his living on YouTube. What fucking pressing matters has he got going on in 48 hours time until the end of fucking existence? Like, why is he so desperate? You actually have a job, which entails you being at certain places at certain times, in meetings and so forth. You can't necessarily just at the drop of a hat do a fucking hangout with Bering, whereas he can in 3, 4, 5 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, who cares, do a hangout with you. So the fact that he's put this in ridiculously arbitrary dateline on you, it means he just doesn't want to do it. He says any time, and changes it to 48 hours. Says he doesn't want a says he's okay with a moderator, and then wants to get rid of a moderator. Says, oh yeah, we can do it on any channel. Oh no, you've got to do it on my channel. He's full of fucking shit.
Yeah, so what he writes here is, because I'm not the one endlessly obsessing over some tired internet grievance. Dude, you made up lies about me. You won't retract them. I am protesting my innocence. That's not internet grievance. It's righting a wrong.
Are you showing the tweets, or are we just going to read them?
Oh, can you see them?
I can't see them. Can everyone else see them in the chat? I can't see them.
Okay. How about that now? Oh, I see. Maybe I made that too big. You should be able to see it now. It says I'm screen sharing.
No, I can't see anything.
Do you see my avatar?
I see your avatar, yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, let me see what I can do. I'll take that off. And then for some reason, yeah, it's not switching to my screen. Is it switching now? I don't know. You have to ask the chat if they can see it, because it looks like I'm presenting to everyone.
No, on the page, there's just your avatar. I mean, mine, your avatar going back and forth.
Ah, that's sad. Okay, well, for some reason, now my screen sharing?
No. It's not going to work for whatever reason.
Yes. All right. Well, I can still pull up the tweets, but basically the summary is, and I can post them in the description box below so you guys can check them out. He writes, if you'd like to have a conversation.
Which now means I'm going to have to copy and paste loads of fucking tweet links and put them underneath my mirror. Brilliant. Thank you, internet.
Just control all, control C, control.
Well, I'm not Davis O'Reilly. I don't know all of the fucking keyboard shortcuts. I'm sorry.
I'll give it to you.
I'm sorry I can't be the man that he is. The man that you want and need, Kristi.
All right. Well, yeah. So one of the tweets that you'll be able to see when you check the links below, it says, if you'd, and I copied these from the tweets themselves. So if you'd like to have a conversation, you're welcome at my channel. Another one that I have is, you're still welcome to join me for a discussion whenever you like. And then I say, yeah, fine, let's do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently everyone was seeing it, but I just, for whatever reason, I can't fucking see it.
Okay.
Okay. Apologies, people. My computer's fucked or something. I don't know.
You're the problem. You're the problem. All right. Then I will be able to do this quickly and share. All right. So what I've gotten up is, so the one I had up before was, I'm not the one about obsessing about some tired internet grievance, which is basically I am holding him accountable for saying lies about me and asking to face my accuser. Is that unreasonable? Ask to face the person who's accusing you of things, and I can present my defense. And somehow, anyway.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah.
And he said,
it's rather interesting, actually, when you put it that way. It reminds me of the nonsense they talk about. Oh, well, we can't just believe people's accusations. A man deserves his day in court. Otherwise, I mean, what kind of system is this where people can just make willy-nilly accusations against people? Bearing.
Yeah. I'm quite content having nothing to do with you. I'm sure he would, because you know what? If he doesn't have to face me, then I don't get a chance to expose him for being a liar, and he can keep his reputation, as opposed to actually having to face me and answer for some of the things he's written and also some of the things he said. Definitely.
Yes.
All right. So can you talk while I get the next one up so that my screen doesn't look terrible?
Well, indeed so, yes. Yeah, it's fascinating to me that Bearing plays these silly games where he'll say, oh, it's okay for you can come on my channel, and then we'll say, oh, but only in the next 48 hours. Like, I mean, what have you got to be doing that's so fucking ridiculous? I mean, I could understand if you said I can't do it in the next 48 hours, but after that or something. But to say it has to be in the next 48 hours is just monumentally stupid. So it's so unbelievably stupid.
Oh, yeah. Because here's the exchange where he says, wonderful, when it's convenient for you. And I explain, I need time to assemble my documentation for your cross-examination, because that's exactly how I'm treating it. I am like taking all of the knowledge I've learned from watching court TV and everything else. And
it's not just that though, but even if you already had it, even if you had everything absolutely already in place already, you have a job where you can't just fucking say, oh, well, yeah, I've got this free time to do this thing. And of course, you've got to bear in mind the fact that you live 11 hours behind Australian time, or behind East Coast Australian time. You can't just say, oh, well, I can do it in the next 48 hours. You might not be able to do it for a week, but what difference does it make to Bearing? What has he got that's so pressing after these next 48 hours? Is he going to jail or something? What the fuck? Like,
this has been going on for a year.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
What
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
rush?
Exactly. It's been going on a whole year, but now it's got to the final 48 hours that he could possibly ever do a hangout with you, Kristi. Jesus.
So yeah, I offered him. I'll pull this up. I offered him basically 2 dates at first, but then I offered him 4 dates. So like the
It's
early
like
part of
when
March.
supermarkets sell you cheese that says like it's been aged for 6 years and they sell it to you 2 weeks before it goes off. Fuck off. It's fine. All right. I'm annoyed with cheese at the moment.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's just nothing uh sensitive in terms of like time that has to do with this. So what was I looking for here? Oh, he's like, oh, he's just gonna tell the truth. I have to look at my notes here. Um,
Um, I don't know what you're looking for.
I
I
do. It's basically where he says that we don't need a month-long lead up because he doesn't. He's just going to talk crap. He's not going to do any research. But he
yeah.
basically says, yeah,
What difference does it make if there is a month-long lead up? Well, how
yeah.
does that change anything?
When Sargon and I organized our debate, we organized it 4 weeks out because I had stuff
Yeah,
to do and I wanted to
exactly.
prepare,
Yeah,
and it was not an issue at all.
exactly. And like I say, you have stuff to do in your life,
Yeah.
and bearing doesn't. I mean, bearing. If it's a matter of you needing 5 whole minutes for you to fucking throw together another one of your little hit piece videos, then surely you can find that 5 minutes at any point after the next 48 hours or within the 48 hours. It doesn't matter. You only need 2 minutes to think about it and 5 minutes to actually put the fucking thing together. So what? Because you don't actually add anything to your videos, you don't have to film anything particular, just a voiceover. So what difference does it make? What you got that's going on that's so fucking pressing? You got heart surgery to do on the fucking weekend or something?
Yeah. So first it was 48 hours, and then he changed it and he gave me, oh, up to 10 days. Like, again, completely
Okay.
arbitrary, based on absolutely nothing. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going on holiday. I kick it into April. Like, it doesn't matter. I would rather get it right. And this is it. It's not, people are like, oh, if you care about it so much, why aren't you ready to go? I'm like, no, you don't understand how much evidence it takes to unpack one of Bering's lies. Like the whole Tim lie itself, you have to look at what Tim says, and then you have to look at what Bering says. Then you actually have to go to Bering Cab Tim conversation and look at who said what, and then look at what Bering said again to see if it matched on to what was said, and then how Tim reacted and how Bering reacted to Tim. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to then actually, I have to show all the documentation I have for that. That takes
Yeah. Look,
time to
that's the
do.
thing. It takes 10 seconds to create a lie, but it can take hours to unpick that lie.
I'm only going to get one shot at this.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to do this 7 times.
Well,
So
to
if
be honest
I'm
with you, I'd be surprised if you ever get a shot at this. I'd like Trump with the Democratic memo. There's no interest in him for the truth to be out there. So why would he give you your shot to tell the truth?
Quite. Hey, by the way, because I'm using my computer, I might go Dalek. So tell me if I get robot-y at all. And also, people in my chat, my regular viewers, sometimes, like I noticed with my Steve Shives hangout, I went Dalek-y. Oh, that wasn't live.
Yeah.
But if I ever live go Dalek-y, just hit F5 in the chat until somebody notices. I hate
Okay,
Dalek-y.
but the thing is, if you turn into a Dalek, I will get an erection. So that could be an issue.
Oh, now
Just
we know your
saying.
kink. Now we know your
Yeah,
kink,
exactly.
Kevin.
Exactly.
Right. So after multiple so-called open invitations and asking me when was convenient, then when I agreed to those things. So what have I already agreed to, right? What have I given up or conceded in order to have a chance to face my accuser? First, it was that he held himself to his comment that he would rescind his accusations if I could demonstrate that there was no basis for them. He refuses to do that. Then he refused to go on a neutral channel. It has to be in his channel where he can be surrounded by his hate fans who are the most dedicated people who support him, where he can mute me, where he can kick me off if he wants.
Yeah, like he did with Michael.
Yeah, precisely. He rejected having a moderator who would make sure that each of us had equal amounts of time to speak and that we weren't interrupting each other and that it wasn't descending into name calling. And then when I agreed to all that, then he shifts the goalpost again. Then he changes the rules and say, no, it's no longer when it's convenient for you. You have to do it within the next 10 days. And if you don't accept, you're the problem. What an asshole. He's obviously terrified of me, which is why I had to, go, you know what? You forfeit any legitimacy for these claims, Bering. You've basically, by your evasions, admitted we're innocent. And so I'm just calling it. But Danny, did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. Bering is basically has exonerated us through his fear of facing us.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who moves the goalposts that regularly is basically admitting defeat. They're ceding the ground.
Oh, he pwns feminists and male feminists on his channel. But when he's actually confronted with me, when I am going to call him on his bullshit and show him with tweets going, I didn't say Kristi doxed me, and then explain why he's going around saying that Kristi doxed you, I want to hear those answers. And he doesn't want to have to give them.
Yeah, because he doesn't have an answer. Basically, the answer is, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But he's never going to give that answer, so he's never going to have the opportunity for you to put him in that situation. That's why, I mean, I would love to see it. I genuinely would, but I don't think he's ever going to give you the hangout that A, I think you deserve, and B, I think would be good for the situation in general.
Well, the other great thing is if we did end up doing this, you know, in a month's time, there would be a huge audience.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. You know, absolutely. All the hype. Absolutely. You know, so, and I want a huge audience. I want as many people to see it as possible. I am more than willing to defend my innocence in this and ask him to produce his evidence.
Well, that's why it seems so strange that he would want it on his channel. If you were going to do it on some little tiny channel where no fucker's going to see it. Do it on my channel.
And, you know, let's just invert this. What if I was the one who was doing all the steps that Bering was? Yeah, I had made the accusations.
He'd have made at least 20 videos about it, man.
Yeah.
With a combined length of about 40 minutes.
Yeah. So again, you know, Bering wrote these words of his own volition. I'm prepared to rescind my accusations if I'm convinced that they should be rescinded. They weren't made out of spite. They were based on information I have in front of me. Yeah. If that's the case and the information is discredited and you aren't making them out of spite, Pat, then you should rescind your accusations.
Yeah. Exactly. For once, be the bigger man, and well, not just the bigger man, be a man. Grow a fucking spine and just say, yeah, okay, I was wrong. Sorry.
I did get some tweets simple. Do you know the do you know the Kumite?
Oh yes, the internet blood sport. I'm so edgy. Oh, it's fuck off. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I got a tweet from somebody saying that my name had been raised in Bering. I don't know if Bering was on the show because I was eating dinner and I was watching some Rick and Morty while I was preparing for this hangout, and I was having fun, so I wasn't going to go watch it. So maybe I'll check it out. I'm sure I'll check it out afterwards. But yeah, so now it's now not enough that Bering has to have me in one-on-one on his channel. Apparently now I can go on the Kumite where Bering can have all his friends like cheering him on. You be mean to the feminist.
The internet is so the internet is so weird. You're an academic who gets raised as a topic on the Kumite, which is basically internet scum. Whereas I'm a low-life piece of nonsense. And I get brought up, as I did yesterday, by a caller on the Majority Report, which is like a proper news show on the internet.
Damn, Kevin, you're going places.
Which is just unfair. That it should be the other way around, surely. But there you go.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
Well, if I do go on to the Majority Report, which I doubt I will, but if they ever do invite me on, I will. By all means, I will go and subscribe to Kristi Winters. Otherwise, I'll shank you, or something, or probably something less violent.
Yes, hopefully much less violent. So,
exactly. Yeah. So, something that won't get me on some sort of government list, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, just I'm going to put it out there for people to consider. You know, an accusation has been made. One person is pursuing the facts and the evidence and asking to have a conversation about the facts and the evidence. And the other person wants it all to go away and refuses to face the other person and give them answers. Regardless of whatever direction the accusations are hurled in, I think one person you can easily see is acting innocent and the other person is acting obviously guilty. And I am not the person running away. I have said Bering can't take yes for an answer. And I am, as long, you know, I'm going to prepare if there's a date set. Tonka got in touch with me on Twitter and I said, yeah, give me some dates in March. And if those dates don't work, let's look at some dates in April, but I'm not going to do it before I'm ready. And this is the next tactic you're going to see from Bering. It's hurry Kristi up. Don't give her time to get prepared. Put her in a situation where she has to do it in the next whatever time period, or it's never going to happen.
And not just that, but then
he wants me unprepared. He wants me to be not give the full force of what I can prepare if I have the time to do it.
Yeah, and it also has the dual effect of him being able to say to his fans, "No, look, I gave her a date. I said we could do it on this date, and she backed out. Oh, she's a coward. Blah blah blah." Even though he gave you, 2 hours notice or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though he said, no to a moderator, no on a neutral channel. It has to be on my channel. I keep saying yes, and he keeps making more conditions. And that's because he's a coward. He can't face me. He saw what I did to Sargon. He knows that
Which
I
is
will
still
destroy
funny.
him.
That's still brilliant. Well,
And
that's because everywhere I go onto these weird little channels, there's always someone who goes, "Actually, like someone will say something horrible about you," as they tend to, because they're fucking horrible. And then one of them will go, "Yeah, but she did rip Sargon apart," which is so nice. Because I know that these people, despise you, but they can still see past that to, "Oh yeah, she fucking messed up Sargon's rotten." Which is nice.
And the thing is, he's not going to be arguing with me. He's going to be arguing with the ED, the editor logs on when things were posted and what people were cited and when my name came up and what his precise accusations were and his own words. It's not going to be my opinion against his. He can call me all the names in the book. I'm going to be like Destiny. I'm like, here's the next screenshot. So Patrick, when you said in your post that it would be easy to dox you, is that because you post your own name, first and last name on your YouTube channel and show the screenshot of his channel, It's just evidence. What are you going to say?
That, but he uses music that there are apps on your phone where you can find out the source of that fucking music and stuff. Like the internet knows these things. If you're going to, it's ridiculous that he ever expected anonymity, given that he doesn't accept it for anyone else as well. Which is annoying. Can I just say before we move on, I teach, or whatever the hell, they've got a blue wrench, so I presume you know them. They were the person that rang into Majority Report and mentioned me. So thank you to that person. You're a legend. Thank you. And I thought you made a good point. They didn't just ring up to mention me. They were talking about Mike Buchanan, the British politician in quotation marks, who runs the Justice for Men and Boys, and in brackets, and the Women Who Love Them party. If people have watched my, they're literally, it's in brackets, like as if you couldn't make women feel like any more of an afterthought. You fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Also, it was interesting to see in the debate today in the House of Commons about the 100 years anniversary thing. Philip Davis MP, the MRA MP, he didn't turn up for that, which is strange because I thought it was about gender equality and I thought he'd be there to support votes for women, but it seems he's full of shit, so he didn't turn up.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, just a little dig there.
Gotta get a dig in because he's fucking. If he got hit by a truck, I would celebrate. Sorry, he's foul. Any man who tries to filibuster anti-rape legislation can die in a fire, and I will chuckle. And that's not a threat. I'm not threatening anybody there. I'm just saying if it were to happen.
Right. So I have to say that was my rant, and also just like saying Bering's forfeit. He's basically admitted he lied, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to say that he exonerated us through his silence.
I think that's fair enough at this point. I think you've given him more than enough opportunities to have proved his case. Should he have had a case, but he doesn't. Very simple.
We've got a little time. Should we dig into the chat and see if we've got any?
We can do if we want to. It seems that some people are possibly saying that you're the new Dark Mother. You might be taking over from Sarkeesian.
Well, yes, but I actually take on my opponents.
Throwing shade at Sarkeesian.
I'm coming for you, Anita.
Cat fight. See, now the internet would pay big money to see that shit. Jesus.
So I'm really amused by that. So I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes.
You shouldn't do, but
so not cool.
But I laughed at my joke. I laughed at me making. Oh god! In that video we started off this hangout about the day without the internet. I made a my player on an NBA game from 2011, and I put his shirt number as 69, and that made me chuckle. I'll be honest. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm like a 6-year-old.
Oh, it's the small pleasures in life. Yes, 12-year-old boys. Yes, 69. All right. So, the chat. Can you hear me? Or you dropped out?
I think I dropped out then. Sorry, I missed everything.
That's all right. It was just me nattering. Yeah, so anyway, one of the things that you talked about before we came on the show is that your time on the naughty step is coming close to an end.
Yes, so we'll be able to, because when we've had this initial idea of doing like a regular-ish hangout thing, we was going to be sort of back and forth in terms of hosting.
And then you got done.
Yeah, but I got a strike on my channel, and one that, I mean, I reviewed it, and I thought there was a reasonable chance of it getting overturned, but I can see why, given the rules, that it wasn't. Although I wasn't intending for a second to bully Amos Yee, it did include the clip of him getting slapped outside the court in Hong Kong, and that was, I can see how that could be perceived as being, like, I don't know, horrible to him or whatever, even though he was advocating the fucking of children. So I mean, you should let it slide. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's water under the bridge. I got a strike on my channel. So, and if you get one strike, you can't do hangouts on your channel. So I've been having to do my hangouts on my second channel and then re-upload them to my main channel. So we've been doing the hangouts here, the Kristi and Kev's happy hours. But on the 24th or 27th or something, I don't know, of this month, that will run out. So assuming I don't get another strike, which you can't always fucking guarantee, of course, I will be able to do hangouts back on my main channel, and so we'll be doing the next few to make up, and then go to a sort of back and forth format.
Yeah, until so you make
it. So if you actually enjoy these and you're not subscribed to me, subscribe to me at least for that.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then
I'm sure.
So you won't miss out. Because my ones, you'll notice Kristi's are relatively well structured. And there's the occasional source and stuff. When they're on my channel, they won't be. They will be a joke.
I'll bring my sources with me.
Well, good, good.
You can have some of my sources. Well, I'll share.
Can I get some of your organisational skill and I don't know, will to live? Can I have some of your will to live? Because I've lost mine.
Yeah, I can bottle that up and send it over to you. That's no problem. Good. I've got access.
Oh, it's just getting weird now. Oh, the Brexit thing. Oh God. Oh, I was so fucked. I meant to be doing a video about it, but I couldn't be bothered in the end.
Well, you want to do it here? Go on.
Oh, yeah, might as well.
We'll just ignore the chat. We told them we were going to pay attention to him. We totally faked him out.
Yeah. Well, we said at the start of the series that we were going to do some of that, and we never did.
We're so bad at it. Yeah, sorry, guys.
Which is fair enough, because it's supposed to be us in a pub chatting, and you don't have chat rooms in pubs, really. You just have people talking. Anyway.
I mean, what it is, it's kind of like people in the pub who, you know, like overhear your conversation and they want to get a word in. You're like, who are you?
Yeah, no, just go away, you creepy fucker, man. Just put your cock away. What's wrong with you? For fuck's sake. To the person who asked in the chat, Jess Phillips is not my MP, but she's an MP from the city I live in, but she's not my MP. Yeah, the Brexit thing. The government had some, and it's bizarre to think of BuzzFeed as being like, oh, what's going on now? You're sharing bearings. Oh, that's what's happened. I'm a fool.
You've been watching the video from the rebroadcast, not our live feed.
Well, I paused it at the start because I realised, oh, what a fucking bird. I paused it at the start, but I forgot that I paused it. So when I pressed play again, it started from like a minute in. So I just saw me and you going back and forth, and now we've got to the point where you're sharing the tweets, and I can see the fucking wow, cuck.
Hey, you know what? I'm just relieved that it's not a technical problem on my end, that we got it sorted out, and that the reason we had a problem is because you're a bit of a muppet. That's okay.
It's a technical problem with me having my head up my anus. That's the problem here.
That's fine.
Fucking.
Oh, we got a story out of it.
Oh, what! I am a fucking idiot.
Hey, Kev, remember that time when you thought you couldn't see my screen, and then like an hour later you figured out that you were watching the wrong video?
Imagine when I'm going to be the host. Imagine how bad it's going to be then. Fucking hell.
Okay, Brexit.
Desperate. It's weird to think of BuzzFeed as a journalistic source, but they genuinely were last week when the government's they did like internally, and it was shown to all the ministers and everything, a impact surveys or impact studies on the various different types of deal we might be able to get out of Brexit and the financial fuckery it's going to cause. and they didn't want this shown to the public, but it was leaked to BuzzFeed. Like I say, I mean, it's weird to think of them in that way, but they basically are a news source, you know.
They released the Steele dossier.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, they've become a genuine, rather than just being, 10 reasons that, you know, you might be this type of biscuit, as or whatever, some absurd videos they do. They do actually interesting bits. Well, don't be foreign about it. You've got to be a custard cream. What's wrong with you?
Oh, right. No, I want to be a McVeets caramel digestive. Then I didn't eat myself.
Okay, well, this got deeply sexual. I don't know what happened there. What was I fucking say? Yeah, anyway, they released this thing, and it's under every circumstance, it's a lot of bollocks. But the thing I found most humorous was the hardcore Brexiteers saying you can't trust this leaked report because they didn't take into account our preferred option. But the thing is, their preferred option is a fantasy. They want to have their cake and eat it. They want to have all the benefits of, you know, barrier-free trade that you get with being in the single market, without having the single market and all this sort of stuff. And they want all the advantages of immigrant labour without actually allowing immigrants in and stuff like that. And so basically their criticism of this impact study was this impact study can't be trusted because it didn't take into account a possibility that our fantasy land scenario that will never ever happen might actually come true. It's bizarre. I mean, the land in which the Brexiteers now exist is so farcically removed from the truth of the actual state of affairs we're in as to be just utterly ridiculous. And it's part of the problem with the core of what this government is, because it's so fucking weak, because it has a minority in the House of Commons, is that every time the government try and come out and try and do a kind of PR move towards the EU and try and say soft, nice things in order to try and get the EU on side, the Brexiteers go mad and they have to come out and go, no, fuck Europe. Europe are all a bunch of cunts. And so then we're back to square one. And so the EU are quite rightly treating them with utter disdain. Because why would anyone that dishonest and that easily flipped by a few right-wing fucking rebels it's worthless trying to negotiate with them, basically. And it's fucking up my country, and I don't like it. So, yeah, it's very unpleasant. But anyway, there you go.
One of the analysis that came out of the post-Brexit social science, political science in the UK was that for people who voted for Brexit, they were aware of the fact that there might be very severe or, you know, economic consequences, that there might be problems with, you know, shortages or whatever else, the cost might go up. But that short term or small economic pain was worth it if you got control over your borders. That was the thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now they're going to get the bad economy, but they're not going to get the control over the borders that they wanted. So nobody gets what they want at all. Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets angry.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you start making decisions of national importance based upon the whims of racists, this is where you end up. You end up with Donald Trump in the White House and Brexit basically being the nation deciding to saw its own cock off because, the brown people are here. Fucking hell.
It is a PR problem, especially in the UK, because you don't have people really standing up for the EU. I mean, the Lib Dems, but you had UKIP just banging on and all the complaints, but you never had anyone defending it. You never had saying, "Here, look at all this money that we're getting from the EU. Look at this investment we're getting from the EU."
Well, the problem was, and it's been a problem in Britain for about basically my entire life, really, but especially in the last 20, 25 years. Was that neither of the major political parties wanted to talk about Europe at all. Not to be pro or anti. They didn't want to talk about it because from the Tory point of view, they're hopelessly split on the issue. Some are very pro-Europe, like Ken Clarke, and lots of them are very anti-Europe, but they realise the economic benefits. But they're completely split, as you can see now from the Brexit thing. And Labour didn't want to talk about it because they were very pro-EU, but they realised that the people of Britain were rather sceptical about the EU. So from both parties' point of view, it made sense to not talk about it, which basically ceded that territory to the likes of UKIP, who've been able to make absolute hay, and to the detriment of the entire country because of short-sighted political gain. And that's a fucking shame, because there are a lot of benefits that we're going to get fucked over for not having anymore. So I mean, it's essentially national self-harm in order to placate the whims of racist idiots. It makes for such poor public policy as to be untrue.
Yeah, it is a really depressing time to be defending democracy.
Yeah, yeah. Like so, and that's another thing. They wanted to get parliamentary sovereignty back, but under the legislation that's being passed, the Great Repeal Bill, it will basically give almost dictatorial powers to the executive branch. It's absurd. They'll be able to change secondary legislation at the stroke of a pen without any parliamentary consultation during the transition period. And you think, well, how is that? That means that our parliament has gone from having some of European law overlapping and therefore not having absolute magisteriate to having no power whatsoever. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's fucking fantastic. We've definitely got power back then. Fucking hell. Depressing. It's really depressing. And on that fucking bombshell. Jesus.
Yeah. Is it time? You got it out of your system now? You got the poison out?
Well, for today, yeah. But like I say, it's like
for today. Yeah. That's as far as you can hope for. That plus Twitter tweets with cats in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I don't get my daily supply of cat memes, I go fucking mental.
Oh, it's amazing. Like on Twitter now, they are like little mental oases. Oh look, it's a chicken running on the back of a dog. Oh, isn't that funny? And then it's just nonsense, garbage, lies, fire, Trump, exactly. Blah.
I go from ripping apart Nazi ideology to posting a meme of a kangaroo hugging a teddy bear. Yes. It's a very strange juxtaposition, my fucking Twitter feed.
But you need that kangaroo hugging teddy bear to get through the day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like morphine for the soul. Absolutely.
It is. I have to I just cling to those little moments, going, "Oh, I'm just going to sit in this video for a couple seconds before I re-enter the world of shit."
Yeah, exactly. Before I go and check my Twitter notifications and I get called cock 1,000 times.
Hello, Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I got to do that wrappy up thing. So, because now, all right. Okay. So, hey guys in the chat, we totally blew you off. Sorry, but we hope you had fun talking to each other. You probably
fuck you, chat. Fuck you.
You probably ignored most of what we were saying because you're too busy having fun.
I pointed at my microphone when I said that. Well, fuck. Oh, I've lost the plot. I'm all over the shop here.
All right. So everyone, just picture Kevin pointing and laughing at you, or saying "fuck you."
Yeah.
Fuck me in the chat.
Exactly.
So, hey, I guess that brings us to the end of the show. All that's left to be said is that I've been awesome. People in the chat have been awesome. Kevin has been awesome. Goodbye from me and goodbye from Kevin. Say goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye, Kevin.
Bye. Go sub this channel and watch the videos and do the same for me. Okay, bye.